So a long-winded way of saying that I've intended to work together with all of my other bodies across whatever realm and dimension I find myself in.
Mm.
And I think I chose that name, Power Up, um, number one, as a signal, like a switch to my mind or, to my bodies here, my physical body, my emotional, mental, and spiritual body, light body here, so that I can move into this space that I've been practicing for the past, I would say, like 6 months. I know we've talked about it before, uh, about, over the past 6 months, I've had many experiences that we've talked about around uh, activation experiences that have coincided with um, new spaces of awareness for me. And so I've practiced moving into that space. And when I trigger myself with the phrase power up, it allows me to open up the seal and kind of create like a walkway or like a bridge or a corridor that leads into that space that I can hold it open and maneuver in this life while holding that energy space open. Um, so that's been like my greater practice not recently, over the past several months. And now it's just becoming more. I can do it with like greater ease. I can do it with more awareness that, I know when it's up. I know when that corridor has popped up and I hold it open. And then I know when, my energy might be like dipping, and when it's like closing, and I can give myself time to, rest or re-energize my body. And then when I hear or feel the call to open it back up, I just say power up. And then I can bring it back up. And it's just a trigger that I've created.
That's awesome. Can you share what it feels like? Like, what does it feel like when you're doing it, I guess?
Um, so I think there's two different aspects to it. The first is that uh, like chakras are coming into alignment, and so my body is like powered up, like letting go, like it requires, or at least it feels like it's cutting all ties that might be trying to attach themselves to my body. I don't know if you've seen maybe in like some pranic healing or some like pictures of the light body and the chakras, how like energetic cords can attach themselves to your being. So it's like all of those cords are being cut and released. And um, it just feels like it feels like two bodies are merging.
Mm.
And that's kind of oversimplifying it, but it's like one energy field or one, let's just say force of energy feels like it's moving at a certain speed, and then it's, you know, meeting this body here. Um, and so you can kind of feel how, if they're going to be symbiotic, how you have to operate. Connecting with that, let's say, greater force is very energizing, and it's very like high, higher feeling.
Yeah.
However, it's very large, and it has taken a great deal of training, and it still requires my intention and my patience to hold it for longer and longer and longer. Um,
Does it impact your physical experience? I guess, does it alter maybe what you're tuning into? I know you said you're operating it at the same time, to dual.
yeah, uh, you know how, like, when you first started driving a car, like, you were maybe like gripping the steering wheel and like really had to
Yeah.
focus a lot, and it might have like stressed you out a little bit, or, those like jitters of like being very present and aware of what's going on. And like now you get in the car and you listen to the radio, you're having a conversation, you can have a drink, you can eat a burger if you want. Um, and like you might not fully recollect the drive somewhere. Like it's just like you just arrived,
Yeah. Okay.
you know? Okay. So when successfully I'm holding the greater force open, I just end up places. Um, it's like it kind of takes over my my peripheral, my vision field, and like I can do, small tasks and this and that, and it kind of makes this timeline collapse because all of a sudden, you know, the dishes are done and the house is clean. You get what I mean? Like, so
Yeah.
in that way, it's interesting. It definitely affects this physical plane in that way. Um, I would say like emotionally, it might affect me if I haven't taken the time to like tune into myself, or I've been, emotionally or mentally caught up somewhere, like then I'm unable to open it, but it's only me standing in the way, so I have to like clear things. Um, so that can be a little bit of a dampener if I get caught up in being like, oh, why won't it open? And it's like it's just me like standing looking at the corner and realizing I just need to turn around. Um, so there's that aspect too.
Like
But
it's
yeah,
atomic sometime. Like, I mean,
yeah, it's
like, like
yeah,
you're doing it, but you're not really, I guess, fully coherently doing it, I guess. I know what you're
right.
talking
No,
about. I've
right.
lived through
So
that.
like the only requirement of me is that I stay in an open state. Is that I intend to be in an open state.
Mm,
Now, like there are a lot of variables from the human body that keep people or, might keep you from being in an open state, like, fear, grief, sadness, like, you know what I mean? Like there are different things there. So it's like, can you continuously clear, the things that might interrupt being at an open state? And if so, then this can be an open and running, let's just say like program or experience package. The triggers have definitely helped the like it just puts me right back. Like it's like I can feel the signal in my meridians, and I just let go of anything that doesn't feel like that, and I can just go and open it, you know?
mm. Yeah. Okay. That resonates. I know what you mean.
Yeah. So in that way, it's really been helping me just to let go of things, like the mind and the ego want to hold on to and control or, own these things and harbor. And by practicing this, it's just, you know, it's like if those things are going to stand in the way from me being in the space that feels like huge and enlivening, like I'm just gonna let them go. So the like training that out.
When you say you practice, I guess just how do you get there?
Mm,
Can you elaborate it there?
well, I'm at the point now where like it's I would say 95% of my intention in a day.
Mm,
Um, It's just like I've told you before, like, um, I used to, throughout my entire life, I had a more difficult time relating to people because they want to, you know, play out storylines or, this kind of thing, like their free will. But like, I feel like I've always been standing in the same place, um, within myself. And so it's just kind of my intention to do. So my practice to get there is to like I'm excited. Like when I wake up, I'm like, oh, I hope I open my eyes and I hope it's just like I hope I'm just right there, like like I'm
That's a great
excited.
way to do it.
Yeah. And so like the more and more I go on and the more and more success I have, the more it's like that's the only like that is the resonant feeling that I'm having. You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So So like seeking out any other emotions that might be like a dampener, like it's getting less and less.
I mean, that's a good thing. That just means you're clearing that out, just opening it up, standing in it. You know what I mean? That's what you came here, just to practice you came here with. That's how you felt all along. That's what it
Yeah.
feels like to me, anyways. You know, you're just able to recognize it in a way, or actually, no, actually, it's not recognize. I take that back. It's implement it in a day to day practice, meaning that's how you're walking.
Yes. I was just thinking that word, walking,
Yeah.
because now like as I look at it, and when I shared with you this week, like, oh, I'm calling this project Power Up, is because I'll catch myself, um, you know, I'll catch myself in the visionary field of where I am, right? Like, I'm not talking about standing in my kitchen. I'm talking about like where I am energetically, and I see the other versions of me in my periphery. And it feels like we're walking together. And so I was like, it is now my intent, you know, to continue like working on this and walking.
Yeah. Day to day strolls. I feel like, more and more people are going to, I guess, perceive that aspect as you're doing it. You know what I mean? Like, I think, you might gather stride with others, I guess, as more and more come online.
Yeah, yeah. Because even if we go back to another topic that we talked about yesterday, is like telepathically, you
Mm,
have to think about what that's doing when you're operating in that field to
mm-hmm.
people in this dimension, this reality,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.